Today we're going to be focusing on pins and skewers. So my goal for today is to try to play a game in which I have at least one opportunity to create a pin or a skewer or a fork. So we're just going to start off like normal. Maybe let's develop the bishop first. I usually develop the knight, but the knight can't attack anything, so we'll develop the bishop. Okay, attacking with the pawn. We could do a little trade there, but let me retreat to safety here. And I did play a few games this morning, just as like a little warm-up exercise, and I was having trouble getting people to play through the end of the game. There was a lot of accidental blunders and resignations, so not not as much fun when the game ends after 10 moves, but still there's still stuff to learn in each game, so that was good. So now I want to develop the knight. I notice he's attacking the pawn. It's defended by the king, but I want a castle. So I don't want to just... I could move the knight here and defend that square, but to me that feels pretty suboptimal. If we can't castle, we can at least move the rook, and then move the king, and it's extra moves, but it at least puts the king in safety. It's a very interesting opening. I haven't seen something like this before. Okay, so now he's got two attackers on this pawn right here, and I only have one defender, so I could bring out this knight to defend that square as well. What's unfortunate is that I'd like to have another pawn here in case he brings out another... Well, he can't bring out another pawn to attack, so I guess we're okay for now. I just don't want to be in a situation where I'm trading a minor piece for a pawn. I have to be careful too with this queen. This queen is on this file right here, and I know that when he takes eventually, and I take with the bishop, that's going to open up an opportunity for the queen to come out. Okay, so developing move. Now feels like the right time to castle. I don't love this bishop here. And now that he's protecting this square with two pieces, I don't have a great way to get at that bishop. Maybe I could come at it from this side if I could. So I definitely see a little bit of a weakness in this position. This bishop is trapping this pawn, which is preventing this bishop from coming out. So I'm thinking maybe my next move is going to be to take the knight. That's going to allow his queen to come out, and that could... Ooh, this could be a little dangerous. Okay. One thing I see though is that the queen is not, this square right here is not protected by any piece, so I could push up the pawn and force the queen to move this way. I think they were going to move that way anyways, though. So I could take the knight. That brings the queen over here. Or maybe they just take with the pawn. I'm not sure. If I put pressure on the queen to come out, the queen can go here, or retreat back somewhere. If the queen's here, I could move, if the queen's here, I can move my bishop there, protected by the knight. If the queen is here, I could attack with the knight. I don't want to spend too much time on this move, but these are just some thoughts that are coming through my head. I think I feel better about taking this knight and being able to develop this bishop. So let me do that. And I am still defended on this square by the queen and the king, so I'm not too worried that the queen is attacking the rook, since I've got two defenders on it. Okay, so it just takes with the pawn. That's fine. So yeah, now what I want to do is push here. I've got multiple defenders on this square, so kind of forcing this bishop out of the way. And that will allow me to bring this bishop out to maybe attack. Attacking the queen would be unsafe, but I could maybe also move here to attack the knight. And I'm also defended by the knight on that square. Oops. It's hard to right click on this little touchpad. So finding forks, pins, and skewers for me is still tricky. I could create. Wait a minute. What was his last move? Oh, interesting. I actually had a really good opportunity. So I could probably still do it. I can create a fork here. So by pushing this pawn up, he either has to move the queen, in which case I win a knight, or take with the queen, in which case I win the queen. So he's definitely going to move the queen when I push this pawn up. So for the sake of just demonstrating, like the whole point of this video is to try to get forks, pins, and skewers in a game. So I'm going to go ahead and create a fork here, also knowing that when if he takes this knight in the turn after, it's defended by the pawn. So I'm going to fork his queen and his knight. I don't think I'm missing anything obvious here. Probably going to move the queen. This square is not safe. Could retreat or move to one of these two squares. One of these two. Yeah, and if he's wanting to take the knight after I take his knight, I'm fine with that trade because I'm still up a minor piece. Okay, so now I'm going to take the knight. Oh, he does, I realize now, it does have two attackers on this square, so that is problematic. So it's going to win a pawn, and then I'm in trouble with my rook. Okay, but maybe he doesn't see it. So now I need to get multiple defenders on this square or move the knight out of the way. I like the option of having more defenders, so now I'm going to develop the bishop here, so that I'm protected by the pawn and the bishop. Maybe now I can move my... Is there a good place to put my knight? I would like to maybe activate my queen, or even potentially do something with this rook right here. That's another option. What if I attack this bishop here? What would happen? Bishop can retreat all the way back or get taken, which is not favorable. So I'm going to try to force this bishop out of here. And if he decides to take, I'm going to go ahead and probably take with the rook to get the rook into action. Still thinking about this knight here. That's probably what I'll do, but And that would just be a trade, which would be fine. Okay, so moves the bishop out of there. What can we do now? I'm wondering if it's time for one of our rooks to activate. Just looking for other moves. This knight doesn't have anywhere great to go. This knight, I don't want to push him towards the edge. These squares are unsafe. Bishop could come out now to attack there. Another option I see is pushing bishop all the way down, blocking the square of the king, moving the rook out, and the queen, and maybe doing some kind of shenanigans here. This pawn is still defending, so that's problematic. So it's maybe too early for that. But we are up a piece, so simplifying isn't a terrible idea. If I move here, he has the option to push the pawn, in which case I take, he takes. I can take with the knight, he can take back with the bishop, and then I win the bishop. So that's an option. That also leaves a little bit more room for the queen to maneuver, like in case she needs to come defend this square. So I like that plan. Let's go for it. Oh, I'm realizing that was a mistake. My bishop is not protected, so mistake on my part. I got a little bit too aggressive there. So I guess I'll start preparing the next move. If he takes, yeah, so he takes, I mean, maybe I can try to force him back out. So mistake on my part. Unfortunate, but that's okay. It's tough to do much here. If I push this pawn up, then that's one option. I'd like to try to get his queen in trouble if I can. Okay, so what are some ways I can do that? Having my queen on this diagonal and freeing up this pawn somehow. Now the danger I feel here is that if I don't move this bishop out of the way, he can bring the queen over and have some put some serious pressure on that king. So let's get the bishop out of here. Yeah, it's good too to make mistakes like this, like leaving the bishop hanging, because it's extra important when you're ahead to, you know, not get too aggressive and make sure that the moves you're making are the right moves. So it's closer to even now. He's up a pawn. He's in a very defensive, or I feel is a very defensive position, and it's hard to break through, get anything going. At this point, I can't just simplify and trade. So I've no longer got two defenders on this square, so maybe I can bring my queen out to help. That's one option. I'm trying to wait for him to do something and potentially make a mistake. So the queen is not safe here. Can't take that. Not safe here. Not safe here. Safe here, but can't. Doesn't seem like they can really do much in that position. And I can just bully her out if she moves there. So my thinking now is something like this. Oh no, actually, don't want to do that because of the bishop. Make that mistake twice, that would be no good. Okay, so pretty good move. I've only got 2 defenders on this square, and he's got, or sorry, 2 attackers, and he's got 2 defenders. But if he takes, I can just take back. And actually, I can take with the queen, which allows me to do something like this. So I'm going to let that happen. And in the meantime, wondering about this rook. Maybe let me bring this guy out first. Probably bishop is coming next, is my guess. Bishop or... not queen. No, not queen. But if bishop comes, then I can... no, yeah, bishop's not coming. Because then he's losing defenders there. Right, because that was the whole point of... maybe not the whole point, but that was it. That was a pretty good move. So still thinking about forks, pins, skewers. So an opportunity to pin the queen is kind of gone without a bishop. Like if I had a bishop here, that would be a really good opportunity to win a queen. I could also initiate a trade of queens, potentially. Queen here. That's an option, pinning the queen and trading them. I do got 2 knights, so forks are definitely on the table still. And then skewers. I have a harder time spotting skewers, especially in the game. Okay, so attacking the knight. So I could move the knight to safety. It sucks then, because then there's really... well, knight here, knight here. No, because that bishop will be there still probably. Guarding that square. I do have 3 attackers on this square now, so I could go take... well, if I go take, he's just going to take with the bishop, and then I lose a knight. Yeah, I either need to move this knight or defend it, and I'm thinking I'm going to defend it. I could defend with the king, but that's putting my king way out in the open, and I don't love that idea. Other options. Well, I was gonna do this move anyways. I was gonna go queen, queen. So yeah, let's defend with the queen. And if the pawn comes out, that's a pain in the butt. Well, hang on. So then queen, probably take. And it's his turn. He gets the knight. That sucks. Okay, so yeah, this would be a really good fork on my. Okay, yep. So great fork. I'm still gonna do the queen trade. Maybe that'll mess with him. And in fact, if I win this queen with the knight, I can do another fork on this pawn. No, I can't because the bishop. Never mind. That would have been really nice though, to win a rook. Crap. Okay, so I feel that we're definitely in a disadvantaged position, especially if he's about to go up a minor piece. Oh wait, he can't take with the pawn because that puts his king in check. But he can still take with the bishop, which is not great. So the pawn fork, it was still good. Couldn't have taken anyways, so maybe I should have kept the queen here and moved the knight first. I think that would have been a better move. Yeah. Something like that. I didn't think about didn't think about the fact that he couldn't actually take. Oh, this guy has a lot of games. 48 wins, 6 draws, 35 losses. Okay, yeah, so let's see. Oh, interesting. So he retreated the bishop, which gives me a chance to, I can either initiate the trade now, which I think is the best idea. I think that's the best idea. Let's go for the trade now. Okay, so no more queens. That's great. I like to try to keep queens out of the game if possible. So this pawn is actually stuck right now. Now we can maybe get some stuff going. So what can we do here? The two bishops next to each other make it hard to do anything with my knights. I might need a pawn to help me clear out some of these other pawns. I want to keep these pawns protected. So if I do something like this, oh no, that's a protected square. I could retreat temporarily. Push up, I don't have a defender there. It's tricky. Okay, first things first. I'm running a little low on time, so I'm trying to come up with some good moves quickly. Knight here. No, that's no good. Here. I can move the rook over to help protect that square. I feel like I need to clear up this center. How can I clear up the center? I could do a... yeah. Okay, let's do it. Have a plan. So, if pawn pushes, I take with rook. Otherwise, I push up, and if pawn takes, I take back. Well, pawn won't take. So then I can just take. No, not with the rook. Take with the knight. Yeah, my opponent is pretty good. This move is also now an option. Now that this light squared bishop isn't there anymore. I feel like maybe this could be coming. I don't think that's the right move though. Because then I could potentially win a bishop and then move my knight out of the way. Okay, yeah, so that was a very likely move. Now I can push this guy forward. I know he can't take me, so I have the freedom to take back. And when he takes, now I can take with the knight and actually create a fork on these two pieces. I wouldn't be able to take this one, so I guess it's not a very useful fork because it's protected by the pawn. But again, just trying to call these things out. So what else? Yeah, without bishops, it's hard to create pinning opportunities. I think the pin I usually get in games is having a bishop pin the queen to the king. So like I think before, like the queen was here, the king was here. Having a bishop out that's defended means that the queen can take and then gets taken back. That's an interesting move. If I take, that puts me in check, which is not super great. He can take and put pressure on my knight. But if I take here, he's probably going to take back, and then my knight's in safety anyways. So let's stick with the plan. Yeah, and he's almost certainly going to take, because if he doesn't, he knows that I take back, and that puts the king in check, and that gives me another turn to move my knight to safety. I say he knows, but that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so takes. So now I have to decide. Actually, now I do have an opportunity to create a fork, but if I fork these two pieces, he can just move his bishop here and defend the piece that's being attacked. So that's the thing. I can... If I take with the rook, he's probably going to just defend with the bishop, one of these two bishops, which are both protected by the pawns, so that would be a good move. But it does put the king in check, which allows me to then, let's say, take this piece. But if the thing is, if I do that, then he puts me in check, and that's no fun. So now I'm thinking maybe knight instead. Knight instead, I think, is the move I want to do here. He won't take, because then I'll lose a bishop. He shouldn't take. And even if he blocks with the bishops... Oops. Well, he wouldn't anyways, because he's not in check. So, never mind. But I was thinking then we could at least go here, put the king in check, and potentially win a pawn. If he moved like this bishop, for example. Yeah, with the two knights, the forks are going to be the easier moves to spot. Knight here is not an option still because of this guy. I don't think he'll take. I think he's having a hard time thinking of him. We are running pretty low on time here. We got less than 3 minutes, which for some people might be a lot of time. For me, not so much. That's really under 5. I start to feel like, okay, there's some time pressure now. So now I actually have an opportunity to take this pawn, and I can do it with, yeah, okay. Let me just take another second. Oh, yes. Okay, this is good. So discovered check by moving the knight. Now, what? He could move, he could block here, and I can trade. I'm up a pawn, I think. And at this point, I'm willing to simplify the game just to get one of those bishops out of the way. There's still rooks out, which is dangerous. I feel like this game is really... there's still a lot left to happen. If I could pull something off and win a rook, that would be really cool. So I think his best move is to go here, or maybe even here. Here might be better. If he goes here, then that's just a free bishop. If he blocks, then I can take. He takes back, and then I take with the rook. He's in check again. And then I can bring my other rook out and have some fun. Okay, so yeah, this seems like a good move. I still might consider trading pieces, but let me just look for any other potentially better moves. And I want to be careful before he can start putting too much pressure on me, so that's why I'm thinking I really should take out one of these bishops now while I have the chance before he gets me in trouble. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out a bishop. Okay, so king is coming. But so is this rook. Here. I want to be careful now to try to keep my pieces on light squares, because he's only got a dark square bishop. He does have the rooks, obviously, but I'm surprised he hasn't moved them this whole game. Maybe he's worried about getting back rank checkmated. Ooh, am I willing to do it? Am I willing to make that trade? Even being a pawn ahead could be enough. So let's do it. And I might have the opportunity to win other pawns even. So now I'm thinking a move like here could be good. Just trying to win some pieces. Yeah. I know he's not going to come here. There's not a move. There's not a move. There's nowhere really good for this rook to go. Here. Yeah, that could be decent. Attacking this pawn. Yeah, we're getting down to the wire. 2 minutes left, 3.5 for him. Moves are going to be made more quickly. Greater opportunity for mistakes. Fun. Okay, cool. Ooh, mistake on his part. He didn't see the fork. Tough luck. Okay, so this is a great example of why paying attention to forks and skewers in real games can be really great. Now we're up a rook. Well, we're up a rook and down a minor piece, but having a rook while he doesn't is pretty powerful. I think it's time to start pushing some of these pawns. clearing some of them out. We're just trying to trade down pieces at this point. We might need to bring out the king too. Okay, so if that comes, take, and then there's... I think this is what I need to do here. Yeah. And then I'll have my king start making moves. My king can't really help out here too much, can he? If I remove this guy, then my king can start coming to help. Because the problem is my king can't get past, or can't go to this square, and can't, could come up here, I guess. Something like, oops, something like this. Roughly an L or like an S shape. Yes, my opponent is having a tough time. Okay, I think he understands that those pawns are causing trouble. Okay, so here's the problem though. So now this pawn is wide open, which means I can do that, which also means next turn I can come here. In fact, was that pawn? Oh yeah, it didn't matter where he moved that. Okay, so good, he's defending with the king. Now he's got a bad situation where I can pin. Okay, so here's a good example of a pin. So now this king can't come protect his pawns, okay? So because if he moves, I take his bishop. So this is a great example of a pin. So now I can just come up here, clear some pawns out. As soon as he moves this king, I'm going to take the bishop. Now, I guess the king could go here, here. That's real. Yep. Now I could, so if I put him in check, he can block with the bishop. And then, yeah, I still think it's better to come attack these pawns, though. There's really not much he can do. All my dark square pawns are protected, except for this one, but, I mean, for him to come here, 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 that's a lot of moves for me to just get my rook back to protect it. Now his king can come take care of some of these pawns, but again, as soon as his king moves, that's it. Okay, so now that's a pawn. I don't have the bishop pinned anymore, but I'm expecting this maybe. If he goes here, not sure what he was thinking there. I think maybe he's just, I mean, he's obviously in a pretty bad state, but I think maybe he's just not sure what he's supposed to do here. Okay, so now I can start defending or pushing this pawn up. Still defended by the king. And if he tries to come here, I can maybe bully him out. I need to be careful. I don't want to get in trouble. Oh wait, this is good. This is a... what's the word? Skewer? This is a skewer. He's got to move the king. And now I take the bishop. He could have gone to protect the bishop, but then I could have just kept pushing the pawn. So he's not in a very good position at this point. He's probably trying to go for a stalemate, is my guess. Go here. He can take these pawns. I'm not too worried about it at this point. That's his best moves, is to just take the pawns. And let me just keep my rook in safety. In fact, this is probably the best move now. Can't take this pawn. Now, at the risk of accidentally stalemating him, I am going to go for a rook here. I don't want to don't want to get him in stalemate. Okay, so he can't move any farther right, so I'm good here. So let me start coming down this way. He can take the pawn. Cool, cool. And now we just get him in checkmate. A couple more moves. Okay, and that's game. Let's just jump real quick into the game report. I know that was a really long episode. That was 62 moves. Okay. But we'll just go quickly. Again, this was just a chance for us to check out pins, skewers, forks, and apply them in the game. So we're just gonna kind of keep an eye out for moves, bad moves. So here, this was actually a move where we had an opportunity to pin the queen and the knight. So we already talked about that move, and it's even telling us that that was the best move. We missed it the first time. We eventually saw it. Take the knight, keep going. I hung my bishop here. Really bad move. Don't do that. Okay, so here it's actually saying I should have taken, but I only have 2 attackers, and he has 2 defenders. Something I can look at later. Here, not sure why that was a blunder. Also not sure why this is a blunder, but that's okay. I guess it's because it has the opportunity to create a fork. Here, though, I just go ahead and do the queen trade, which it is calling a really bad blunder, but I don't know. That's what I felt like I had to do in the moment. And obviously, you know, accepting that the engine is going to make better moves than me, but also I have to remember that I have to make moves in my skill levels. So here there was a free pawn, which I didn't take. I don't know if I saw it. Another free pawn, which I didn't see. Here I did see the free pawn, but there was a better free pawn that puts him in check. Okay, so that's good to know. Look for checks. Trading pieces. Trading more pieces. That's funny. It wanted me to do this move, and now it's saying, oh, too late. That's a mistake. Okay, so that's interesting. Here it actually wanted him to trade his rook. Oh, no, not trade. Okay. I think that was the move I said, putting it here to attack this pawn. Yeah, this was a really bad move. This created a fork on the king and the rook, which we took advantage of. And eventually, as the game went on, we did get an opportunity for some pins and skewers. So here's an example of a pin where it wasn't a great pin because I couldn't get the bishop because the king can defend it, but that was a good example. We eventually did get a skewer here, which again, he could have defended the bishop by moving to this square, for example. But yeah, made a really bad mistake by letting his bishop go unprotected. And the rest of the game is not super interesting. Just using 2 rooks to get to checkmate, opting to not use the queen to prevent an accidental stalemate. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.